I grabbed my leather portfolio, kissed my husband on the cheek, and slammed the heavy mahogany front door of my Chicago estate, projecting the image of a busy executive rushing to her downtown office. Instead of walking down the stone driveway toward my waiting vehicle, I slipped quietly into the climate-controlled garage. I stood in the cool shadows between our two luxury vehicles, holding my breath. I pulled out my phone, accessed the hidden security network I had installed 3 days ago, and tapped into the live video feed of my infant daughter's nursery. 10 seconds later, the words spilling out of my husband's mouth turned my blood to absolute ice. Before I tell you how I dismantled his entire arrogant existence and reclaimed my sprawling corporate empire, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit the like button and subscribe if you believe a woman's brilliance is her ultimate weapon against toxic greed. My name is Naomi. I am 34 years old. Over the past decade, I transformed a small drafting studio into Vanguard Zenith, one of the most profitable luxury architectural firms in the Midwest. I owned the multi-million-dollar lakefront estate my husband currently occupied. I held the massive commercial real estate portfolio that funded his lavish lifestyle. I was the financial engine driving our entire family. My husband, Marcus, was a managing director at a prominent investment bank. He spent his days in custom Italian suits, charming wealthy clients, and cultivating an image of unrivaled corporate dominance. He loved the spotlight. He thrived on the admiration of his peers. To the outside world, we were a modern power couple, balancing high-stakes careers, and a beautiful 7-month-old daughter named Maya. In reality, the last 2 months of my life had been a terrifying descent into mental fog and debilitating physical exhaustion. It started with small things. I would forget the security codes to my own office building. I would misplace vital blueprints right before major client presentations. Then, the symptoms escalated. I experienced sudden, violent bouts of vertigo during board meetings. My hands would shake so violently, I could barely sketch out a basic structural elevation. I felt as though my brain was slowly disconnecting from my body, suffocating under a thick, invisible blanket of confusion. I blamed the intense stress of returning to work after childbirth. I blamed sleep deprivation. I cried in Marcus's arms late at night, terrified that I was losing my edge, terrified that the brilliant mind I relied on to build my empire was failing me. Marcus played the role of the devoted, supportive partner flawlessly. Every morning without fail, he brought me a fresh cup of organic espresso and a specialized multivitamin capsule he claimed was imported from a holistic clinic in Switzerland. He would sit on the edge of the bed, gently stroke my hair, and watch me swallow the pill. He assured me the vitamins would balance my postpartum hormones and restore my cognitive clarity. He lied. I stood in the silent garage, gripping my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. The glowing screen displayed the crisp, high-definition feed from the nursery camera. Marcus was leaning over Maya's crib, adjusting her blanket. Standing right beside him were his mother, Evelyn, and his younger sister, Valerie. They looked like a picture of domestic bliss, admiring the sleeping infant. The hidden microphone shattered that illusion instantly. Marcus let out a low, satisfied chuckle. "Dr. Sterling was right," he murmured, pulling a small plastic bag of white powder from his tailored vest pocket. "The elevated dosage is working beautifully." She could not even remember the name of her lead structural engineer this morning. 2 more weeks of these specialized vitamins, and her brain will be absolute mush. My heart hammered violently against my ribs. I stopped breathing, my eyes locked on the tiny digital screen. Evelyn stepped closer to the crib, her face twisting into a mask of pure aristocratic contempt. "Good," she sneered, adjusting the collar of her expensive cashmere sweater. "I am exhausted from pretending to respect her. She walks around this house acting like her self-made money elevates her to our social standing. She will always be a gritty, working-class contractor pretending to be elite." Valerie crossed her arms, nodding in eager agreement. "My massive credit card debt is due next month, Marcus. I need that trust fund unlocked. We have tolerated her lack of proper pedigree long enough. Once you secure the medical power of attorney and take control of Vanguard Zenith, we can finally commit her to a long-term psychiatric facility. It is the only way to protect the family legacy. It is already in motion, Marcus replied, his voice devoid of any warmth or hesitation. I am having the legal team finalize the emergency conservatorship papers this afternoon. She is just a stubborn cash cow. It is time to put her out to pasture and claim what is ours. I leaned back against the cold concrete wall of the garage, the horrific magnitude of their betrayal crashing over me like a tidal wave. Every dizzy spell, every forgotten password, every terrifying moment of mental darkness over the last 2 months suddenly made perfect sense. I was not losing my mind. My supposedly loving husband was intentionally poisoning me. Marcus and his fake medical contact were slipping high-grade sedatives into my morning coffee and my daily vitamins. They were deliberately destroying my cognitive function to build a fabricated medical history of severe postpartum psychosis. They wanted to declare me legally incompetent, lock me away in a secure psychiatric ward, and seize total control of my architectural firm and my massive commercial real estate holdings. They were willing to strip Maya of her true mother just to fund their arrogant, unearned elite lifestyle. A lesser woman might have screamed. A weaker woman might have stormed back into the house, demanding answers and weeping over the shattered remains of her marriage. I did not shed a single tear. The betrayal was far too absolute, the cruelty too profound, to warrant an emotional breakdown. The dense fog in my brain burned away, replaced by a cold, calculating, and terrifying clarity. I unlocked the heavy door, connecting the garage to the mudroom. I slipped off my designer heels, holding them tightly in my right hand, and walked silently across the heated marble floors. I knew the exact layout of my estate. I knew Marcus kept my daily vitamins on the granite kitchen island. The kitchen was empty. The sound of their cruel laughter drifted faintly down the grand staircase. I moved with silent urgency. I pulled a spare bottle of generic prenatal vitamins from my leather tote bag, a bottle I kept for emergency travel. I opened the decorative pill organizer Marcus used to orchestrate my slow demise. I carefully poured the large, unfamiliar white capsules into a soft tissue, folding it securely and sliding it deep into my coat pocket. I needed the physical evidence for a chemical toxicology analysis. I replaced the poison with my safe, generic vitamins, closed the organizer, and took a deep, stabilizing breath. I smoothed the fabric of my tailored blazer, forcing my racing heart into a steady, rhythmic beat. I dropped my heels onto the tile floor, letting them make a loud, sharp clacking sound, and walked back toward the mudroom door. I opened it wide and slammed it shut with massive force, announcing my return. "Marcus," I called out, projecting a tone of flustered annoyance into my voice. "I am so stupid. I forgot my presentation tablet on the dining table again." The sound of hurried footsteps echoed down the wooden stairs. Within seconds, Marcus appeared in the hallway, his handsome face flawlessly arranged into a mask of polite, husbandly concern. "Oh, sweetheart," he said, walking toward me with a gentle, comforting smile. "Your memory is really slipping lately. Do you want me to cancel my morning meetings and drive you to the office? You seem overwhelmed." It took every ounce of self-control I possessed not to drive my heel directly into his smiling face. I forced a sheepish, embarrassed smile and shook my head side to side. "No, I am fine," I replied, grabbing my tablet from the glass console table. "I just have a lot of structural schematics running through my mind. The new high-rise project is demanding. I am sorry I interrupted your quiet morning with Evelyn and Valerie." Marcus leaned forward and kissed my cheek. His lips felt like toxic waste against my skin. "Drive safe, my brilliant wife," he murmured against my ear. "Try to delegate some tasks today. You need rest." I nodded obediently, turned around, and walked back out to the garage. I started my vehicle, backed out of the long driveway, and drove away from my beautiful estate, knowing it was currently occupied by greedy parasites plotting my destruction. I kept my expression blank until I was 3 miles down the road. They wanted to play a dangerous game of shadows. Convinced they were manipulating a broken, exhausted woman, they had no idea they had just declared war on an architect who knew how to build a fortress and tear it down to the foundation. I stopped at a red light in the heart of the financial district. My phone chimed softly from the center console. I glanced down at the bright screen. It was an automated high-priority security alert from my private offshore banking server. The notification read in stark black text, "Authorized transfer completed, $75 from Maya Educational Trust Fund to Donovan Capital Management LLC." Donovan was Valerie's husband. He ran a boutique investment firm that, according to my private analysts, had been bleeding capital for the past 2 years. Marcus had not just planned to steal from me in the near future. The financial hemorrhage had already begun right under my nose. They were actively stealing money from my innocent infant daughter to fund Donovan's failing firm. I gripped the steering wheel, breathing to suppress the rising urge to scream, and pressed my foot down hard on the accelerator as the traffic light turned green. The shadow protocol was officially active. The heavy, custom iron gates of Evelyn's sprawling North Shore mansion swung open before I even lifted a finger to press the polished brass intercom. The rich smell of catered hors d'oeuvres and expensive imported perfumes spilled out into the cool evening air. I plastered a serene, slightly confused expression on my face, adjusting my grip on the small bakery box in my hands. Inside the sprawling foyer, the sounds of clinking crystal and pretentious laughter echoed off the imported marble floors. This was the weekly Sunday dinner, a sacred, unyielding ritual for Marcus's family to parade their supposed generational wealth and maintain their suffocating social hierarchy. I walked slowly into the formal dining room, where Evelyn sat perched at the head of the massive custom table, directing the household staff like a military general preparing for battle. She paused mid-sentence when she saw the cardboard box in my hands. Her arched eyebrows pinched together in a look of absolute disgust. She stood up, smoothing her tailored silk dress, and walked deliberately over to inspect my contribution. She snatched the box from my hands and flipped the lid open, revealing the premium store-bought lemon tart inside. A heavy, tense silence fell over the room as the staff stopped moving. Evelyn let out a sharp, condescending sigh that commanded everyone's immediate attention. "A woman of true substance understands the value of culinary presentation, Naomi," she sneered, her voice dripping with calculated venom. "But I suppose when you spend your formative years surrounded by drywall and concrete dust, you never learn how to run an elite household. You can place this tragic pastry in the staff kitchen." The words were meant to strike me down in front of everyone. They were designed to maliciously remind me of my humble working-class roots as a junior contractor, to remind me that despite my massive commercial success, I would never possess their fabricated royal blood. Marcus stood near the mahogany bar, swirling an amber liquid in his heavy crystal glass. He offered a weak, apologetic shrug that I now knew was purely performative. A few hours ago, before I looked at that baby monitor, that comment would have made my chest tighten with deep inadequacy. Now, it just fueled the burning fire coursing through my veins. "You make an excellent point, Evelyn," I replied, my voice smooth and unfazed. "I spent my entire weekend finalizing the structural engineering permits for a new $40 million high-rise, so I admittedly forgot to prioritize making pastry dough from scratch. I will try to accommodate your exquisite standards next time." Her jaw tightened dangerously at the mention of my business, the very business they were actively plotting to steal. Before she could launch another verbal assault to put me back in my place, the front door chimed, and a loud, joyful shriek echoed through the hallway. Valerie practically floated into the dining room, her husband, Donovan, trailing behind her with a smug, self-satisfied grin. All eyes immediately shifted to Valerie, but more specifically, to her left wrist. Resting against her skin was a breathtaking diamond tennis bracelet. The stones caught the ambient light from the massive chandelier, throwing brilliant prisms across the dining room walls. It was a flawless, heavy custom piece. It was undeniably expensive. "Look what my amazing husband just surprised me with," Valerie squealed, holding her wrist up for her mother to admire. "Donovan just closed a massive new investment portfolio. We are celebrating tonight." Evelyn clapped her hands together, rushing over to admire the glittering diamonds. Marcus offered Donovan a firm handshake and a congratulatory slap on the back. They were all grinning widely, exchanging looks of supreme arrogance. I stared hard at the bracelet, knowing exactly where that massive investment portfolio came from. It was $75,000 drained from my infant daughter's college trust fund earlier that very afternoon. Donovan had not closed a legitimate investment deal in 8 months. His boutique firm was drowning in toxic debt. The bracelet was not a trophy of his hard work. It was a glittering trophy of their successful theft. They were literally wearing my child's stolen future around their wrists and parading it right in my face. The sheer audacity of the display required an immediate physical response. I walked calmly over to the bar and poured myself a generous glass of a deep, dark vintage Merlot. I needed to move to the next phase of my protocol, but I required a massive distraction, a loud one. I turned around and began walking toward the dining table, right as Valerie stepped forward to show off the intricate clasp of her new jewelry. I timed my steps. I allowed the heel of my shoe to catch the thick edge of the expensive Persian rug. I stumbled forward, throwing my hands up in a frantic attempt to catch my balance. The entire glass of dark Merlot launched through the air in a perfect crimson arc. It splashed directly onto Valerie's chest, drenching the new diamonds and soaking straight through her pristine white silk designer dress. A blood-curdling scream erupted from Valerie's throat. The red wine bloomed across the expensive fabric like a massive wound, ruining the garment instantly. "My dress!" she shrieked frantically, pulling at the soaked silk. "Are you blind, Naomi? This is a $5,000 dress." "You ruined it!" Total chaos consumed the formal dining room. Evelyn started yelling for the house staff to bring club soda and salt immediately. Donovan grabbed a linen napkin and dabbed at Valerie's chest, causing the red stain to smear even further into the delicate white silk. Marcus rushed over, attempting to calm his hysterical sister while shooting me a look of extreme disappointment and fake concern. "I am so sorry," I gasped, pressing my hands to my mouth in a display of exaggerated horror. I just suddenly felt so dizzy and lost my balance. It must be my medication making me clumsy. I dropped my clutch purse, intentionally letting it slide beneath Evelyn's massive chair. While the entire family was focused on the ruined dress and screaming at the poor staff, I dropped to my knees, pretending to frantically search for my spilled belongings, and crawled under the massive oak dining table. The thick hanging tablecloth shielded me from view. I reached into the hidden lining of my purse and pulled out a voice-activated micro-recorder. It was a sophisticated piece of corporate espionage equipment I had used years ago during a hostile real estate acquisition. I pressed it against the underside of the heavy wood, right beneath where Evelyn always sat to hold her private family meetings. I ran my thumb over the edge to ensure it was secure. I grabbed my purse, stood back up, clutching my head and swaying slightly. "Marcus," I said, my voice trembling with fake vulnerability. "I am feeling unwell right now. I think I need to go home and lie down." Marcus immediately switched into his designated role of the burdened but supportive husband. He wrapped an arm tightly around my waist, casting a significant, knowing look toward his furious mother. "Of course, sweetheart," he said softly. "Let us get you home to rest. Your mind is just overwhelmed today." I apologized once more to a furious Valerie and let Marcus guide me out of the house. The drive back to the estate was suffocatingly quiet. Sitting next to the man who was actively poisoning me took every ounce of restraint I possessed. I had the bug safely in place. Now I needed to know the full extent of the financial damage. As soon as we walked through our front door, I feigned severe exhaustion and headed straight for the master bedroom. I locked the heavy door behind me and walked into my massive walk-in closet. I pushed aside a row of heavy winter coats and accessed a hidden wall panel where I kept my private secure server. I booted up the custom system and bypassed our home network's firewalls. I needed to see what Marcus was doing on his personal laptop. I ran a powerful decryption software I had purchased from a cybersecurity firm months ago. It took less than 10 minutes to crack his administrative passwords and mirror his email outbox directly to my screen. The first few emails were standard hedge fund correspondences, but then my eyes caught a locked PDF file sent to a high-risk commercial lending firm just 2 days prior. The subject line read, "Urgent Collateral Verification." I downloaded the file immediately and forced the encryption open. The document loaded onto my screen line by line. My blood turned to absolute ice. It was a formal property deed transfer and a commercial loan agreement. Marcus had forged my signature. He was using the crown jewel of my real estate portfolio, a sprawling, zero-emission luxury high-rise in downtown Chicago valued at $40 million as collateral for a massive, high-risk corporate loan. Marcus was not securing funding for our family. He was using my massive real estate asset to secure a needed cash injection for his failing hedge fund. His firm was bleeding money rapidly, and he was using my generational wealth to plug the holes and save his own professional reputation. If the hedge fund collapsed, the commercial lenders would seize my skyscraper immediately, leaving me with nothing. I stared hard at the forged signature at the bottom of the digital document. It was a perfect replica of my handwriting. He had planned this operation for months. He intentionally drugged me to ensure I would be too confused and exhausted to notice the legal notices arriving in the mail. He stole from my innocent daughter to fund his sister's silence and buy a diamond bracelet. And now, he was handing over my flagship architectural triumph to save his own fragile ego. They thought I was just a naive contractor who got lucky in the business world. They thought they could break my mind, strip me of my hard-earned assets, and throw me away while parading my wealth as their own. I closed the laptop and pushed the hidden wall panel back into place. A terrifying, overwhelming calm settled over me. I walked over to the full-length mirror and stared at my reflection. The terrified, confused wife they thought they were dealing with was dead. The woman looking back at me was an apex predator ready to strike. I was not just going to stop the property transfer. I was going to let them walk right into their own elaborate trap. I was going to let them build their entire arrogant future on a foundation of sand, and then I was going to wash it all away. The next morning, the heavy oak door to the master suite creaked open. I was already in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling, playing the role of the medicated, exhausted wife. Marcus walked in with a look of deep manufactured concern etched across his handsome face. He was not alone. Trailing closely behind him was a tall, broad-shouldered man holding a sleek leather medical briefcase. The man wore a pristine white lab coat over a tailored suit, but I recognized him the very second he stepped into the light. My private investigator had sent me a comprehensive dossier on Marcus's inner circle months ago. This was Dr. Sterling. Marcus always referred to him as a top-tier behavioral specialist, but the dossier told the real story. Sterling was Marcus's former fraternity brother, who had his medical license permanently revoked 3 years ago for running a fraudulent prescription pill mill out of a strip mall clinic. "Naomi, sweetheart," Marcus murmured, sitting gently on the edge of the mattress and taking my hand. "I know you have been struggling so much lately. The memory lapses, the sudden outbursts, the extreme fatigue. I could not sit by and watch my beautiful wife suffer anymore. So I called in a favor. This is Dr. Sterling. He is the absolute best behavioral specialist in Chicago. He is here to help us figure out what is going wrong." I forced my eyes to widen in mock terror, pulling the duvet up to my chin, and played the part of a cornered, frightened woman flawlessly. "I do not need a doctor," I whispered, my voice trembling with artificial panic. "I am just tired, Marcus. The baby has not been sleeping, and the new Skyscraper launch is stressing me out. Please, just let me rest." Sterling stepped forward, opening his briefcase with practiced authority. "Now, Naomi, we need to be honest with each other," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "Marcus has told me everything. He told me about how you forgot your security passwords yesterday. He told me about the violent, unprovoked attack on his sister Valerie at family dinner last night. Throwing a glass of red wine is a massive red flag. These are classic, textbook symptoms of severe postpartum psychosis. You are losing your grip on reality. You are becoming a serious danger to yourself and, more importantly, to baby Maya." The sheer audacity of their performance was almost impressive. They were weaving a terrifying web of lies, using my intentional actions from the night before as fabricated proof of my declining mental state. Marcus squeezed my hand harder, squeezing until it actually hurt. His eyes filled with fake, unshed tears. He was giving an Oscar-worthy performance of a heartbroken husband watching his wife lose her mind. "I am terrified for you, Naomi," Marcus choked out, his voice cracking. "You are the love of my life, but I cannot let you destroy the architectural empire you built, because your mind is failing. I cannot let you accidentally harm our daughter, because you are hallucinating. Dr. Sterling says if we do not act immediately, the state might step in and force you into a psychiatric facility against your will. We have to protect you from yourself." Sterling pulled a thick stack of stapled legal documents from his briefcase and laid them neatly on my nightstand. "Institutionalization is an ugly, traumatic process, Naomi," he warned, shaking his head sadly. "But there is a much better way to handle this quietly. Marcus has had his lawyers draft these emergency protective orders. It is a comprehensive medical proxy and a financial power of attorney. By signing these, you temporarily grant your husband complete legal control over your medical decisions, your bank accounts, your real estate holdings, and Vanguard Zenith. It is just a temporary safety measure until we get your brain chemistry properly regulated." I stared at the thick stack of papers. There it was, the ultimate endgame laid bare on my nightstand. With one stroke of a pen, I would legally hand over everything I had bled and sweated to build over the last decade. My multi-million-dollar business, my zero-emission skyscrapers, my absolute freedom. They thought I was drugged out of my mind and terrified of being locked in an asylum. They thought I would blindly sign away my entire empire just to stay in my own bed. I let out a loud, dramatic sob, burying my face in my hands. I rocked back and forth on the mattress, letting my shoulders heave as if I were breaking down under the immense psychological weight of their gaslighting. "You are right," I cried, peering through my fingers at their smug, expectant faces. "I feel like I am going crazy. I cannot remember anything. I do not want them to take my baby away. I will sign whatever you want, Marcus. Just please do not let them lock me up." Marcus exhaled a massive breath of relief. He grabbed a silver pen from his jacket pocket and thrust it toward me. "Just sign on the dotted lines, sweetheart," he urged eagerly, tapping his finger against the signature blocks. "I will take care of everything." I swatted his hand away, acting erratic and superstitious. "No!" I cried, shrinking back against the headboard. "I cannot use that pen, it is bad luck. I can only sign important documents with my lucky pen. My father gave it to me before he died. If I do not use it, the firm will fail. I have to use my lucky pen, or I will not sign anything." Marcus and Sterling exchanged a quick, frustrated glance. Sterling gave a subtle nod, signaling Marcus to just play along with the crazy woman's demands. Marcus forced a tight smile. "Okay, baby," he said, keeping his voice low and soothing. "Where is this lucky pen? Let us just get this done, so you can finally go to sleep." I threw off the heavy duvet and stumbled out of bed, purposefully making my steps uneven and clumsy. I walked over to my antique mahogany writing desk by the window and opened the top drawer. I pushed aside a stack of elegant stationery and pulled out a sleek, heavy black fountain pen. To the untrained eye, it looked like a standard luxury writing instrument. In reality, it was a specialized piece of corporate espionage equipment I had special ordered from a tactical supply company in Germany months ago, when I first suspected Marcus was tampering with my business contracts. The pen was loaded with a proprietary, industrial-grade, disappearing ink. When applied to paper, the dark blue ink looked bold and permanent. But due to its unique chemical composition, it would react with the oxygen in the air and evaporate, leaving no residue, no indentations, and no trace behind after 24 hours. The paper would be blank. I stumbled back to the bed, clutching the black pen to my chest like a lifeline. I snatched the thick stack of legal documents from the nightstand and spread them out across my lap. Marcus leaned over me, practically salivating as he pointed to the bottom of each page. I uncapped the specialized pen and began to sign my name. I used bold, sweeping strokes, pressing the dark blue ink into the crisp white paper. I signed the medical proxy, handing over my physical autonomy. I signed the financial power of attorney, surrendering my massive bank accounts. I signed the corporate addendums, giving him full voting rights over my architectural empire. I signed every single page they put in front of me, crying softly the entire time. When I finished, I let the heavy black pen drop from my trembling fingers onto the floor. I collapsed back against the pillows, pulling the duvet over my head and letting out a long, pathetic whimper. Marcus eagerly snatched the signed documents off my lap, organizing them before handing the entire stack to Sterling. Sterling slid the priceless papers into his leather briefcase and snapped the brass locks shut with a sharp, resounding click. "You did the right thing today, Naomi," Sterling said, his voice returning to a cold, clinical tone. "You are a very sick woman, but you are in good hands now. Just follow Marcus's instructions and take your medication." Sterling turned and walked out of the master suite, his heavy footsteps echoing down the hallway. Marcus did not immediately follow him. Instead, he walked slowly back over to my side of the bed. The fake mask of the caring, concerned husband melted away, leaving nothing but a ruthless, greedy stranger in its place. He leaned down over me, his face inches from mine. His eyes were dark and utterly devoid of warmth. He reached out and stroked my cheek with his thumb. I held my breath, forcing myself to remain still under his touch. "Just rest, crazy girl," he whispered, his voice a sinister rasp in the quiet room. "I will handle everything from here on out." He stood up straight, turned his back on me, and walked out of the room. A second later, I heard the heavy, solid thud of the door closing, followed immediately by the sharp metallic scrape of the exterior deadbolt sliding into place. He had locked me inside my own master bedroom. He believed he had won. He believed he was walking downstairs with the keys to my kingdom locked safely in a briefcase. He had no idea that by this time tomorrow, those legally binding documents would be nothing more than blank, useless pieces of expensive paper. I sat up in bed, throwing the duvet aside. The pathetic crying act vanished from my face instantly, replaced by stone-cold focus. I did not have time to celebrate my flawless performance. If Marcus was locking me in the bedroom, his family was moving to the next phase of their attack. I slid out of bed and rushed into the massive walk-in closet. I retrieved my laptop from its hidden compartment in the wall panel, sat cross-legged on the floor, and booted up the secure server. I immediately accessed the live audio feed from the micro recorder I had planted under Evelyn's massive oak dining table the night before. I slipped my noise-canceling headphones over my ears and maximized the volume. The audio feed was crystal clear. I could hear Evelyn speaking into her cell phone, and the words chilled my blood. "Yes, I am calling to report an emergency situation regarding a minor child," Evelyn stated, her voice dripping with fabricated terror. "My name is Evelyn, and I am calling about my granddaughter, Maya. You need to send a caseworker immediately. My daughter-in-law, Naomi, is violently insane. She is suffering from severe unmedicated psychosis. She physically attacked my daughter last night in a fit of absolute rage, and she is currently locked in her house, refusing to let anyone see the baby. She is unstable and a direct threat to that child's life. You need to come take the baby right now." I ripped the headphones off my ears, my breathing turning shallow and fast. Marcus taking my company was one thing, but Evelyn was calling Child Protective Services to have my daughter ripped from my arms. They were trying to use the state to steal my baby. I stared at the locked bedroom door. They thought they had trapped a crazy woman. They were about to find out they had locked themselves in a cage with a monster. I spent the entire night turning my luxurious master bedroom into a digital war room. Marcus had retreated to the guest suite down the hall, playing the role of the exhausted husband, giving his sick wife some much-needed space. He vastly underestimated my resources. I reached into my hidden wall safe and pulled out my secure, encrypted burner phone. I immediately contacted my personal concierge medical team, a discreet service that catered to Chicago executives. I instructed Dr. Aris, a brilliant, board-certified psychiatrist and toxicologist, to enter my property through the wooded back service gate. I remotely unlocked the private balcony door that led into my suite. By 2 in the morning, Dr. Eris was sitting in my bedroom, drawing 2 vials of my blood for an expedited emergency toxicology screen. Following the blood draw, she conducted a rigorous psychological evaluation. I answered every single question with crystal-clear precision, detailing my architectural designs, my financial portfolios, and my current state of mind. By 4 in the morning, Dr. Eris handed me a stamped, certified letter declaring me in perfect psychological health. 2 hours later, the expedited lab results hit my secure server, confirming my bloodstream was free of any narcotics or sedatives. I had the physical proof, now I just needed to set the stage. At 7 in the morning, I heard the heavy deadbolt on my bedroom door slide open. I threw myself under the thick duvet, closing my eyes and breathing in a slow, rhythmic pattern. Marcus tiptoed into the room. He stood over my bed for a long moment, watching me. He gently placed a fresh cup of espresso and a new dose of his poisoned pills on my nightstand. "Just sleep, my sweet crazy girl," he whispered, pressing a fake kiss to my forehead. "I have to go to the firm. I will let the house staff know not to disturb you." I waited until I heard the distinct rumble of his sports car, leaving the driveway before I threw off the covers. I had 1 hour before Evelyn and her state-sponsored ambush arrived. I walked into my closet and pulled out a razor-sharp, tailored emerald green CEO power suit. I paired it with my most aggressive black stiletto heels. I applied my makeup with surgical precision, ensuring my face looked flawless, rested, and powerful. I pulled my hair back into a sleek, tight bun. I printed out the certified toxicology reports and the psychiatric clearance, placing them neatly inside a sleek leather presentation folder alongside my iPad. At 8:15 a.m., the doorbell rang. It was a series of aggressive, demanding buzzes designed to intimidate. I walked calmly down the grand sweeping staircase, the sharp click of my stilettos echoing through the massive, empty foyer. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and pulled open the heavy front door. Standing on my front porch was a stern-looking woman holding a thick clipboard. She wore a state-issued identification badge that read, Child Protective Services. Flanking her on either side, like armed guards, were Evelyn and Valerie. They had dressed for the occasion, wearing somber, muted colors and matching expressions of fake, Mrs. Naomi Vance. The state worker asked, her tone tight and authoritative. "My name is Agent Miller. We received a disturbing emergency report regarding your mental stability and the immediate safety of your infant daughter. We need to come inside and evaluate the child right now." Evelyn let out a loud, dramatic gasp. "Oh, Naomi," she cried out, her voice trembling with manufactured grief. "We brought help, sweetheart. I know you are losing your mind. Just let us take baby Maya before you do something you will regret." Valerie nodded vigorously. "You are clearly a danger to yourself, Naomi. Just surrender the baby." They expected me to look disheveled. They expected me to be slurring my words. Instead, I stood tall in the doorway, radiating pure, undeniable authority. I did not step aside. I looked into Agent Miller's eyes, maintaining intense, unblinking eye contact. "Agent Miller," I said, my voice smooth, resonant, and calm. "I am aware of why you are here. Please step inside, but these 2 women will remain on the porch." Evelyn's fake concern instantly vanished. "Excuse me," she barked, trying to push her way past the threshold. "We are the concerned family members who filed the report. We have every right to be inside that house, to protect our granddaughter." I held up a single manicured finger, stopping her dead in her tracks. "You have no rights here, Evelyn," I stated coldly. "This is my property. You will stand where you are, or I will have you arrested for trespassing." Agent Miller looked confused. She glanced at Evelyn, then back at my immaculate emerald suit and composed demeanor. I stepped back and allowed Agent Miller into the foyer, closing the heavy door halfway, so Evelyn and Valerie were forced to stand outside in the humid morning heat. "Agent Miller, I understand you have a vital job to do," I said, handing her the sleek leather folder. "But I need you to review these documents before we proceed any further." The agent opened the folder. "What is this?" she asked. "That is a certified legal psychological clearance," I explained, keeping my tone professional. "It was conducted at 2 o'clock this morning by a board-certified psychiatric specialist." Behind that document, you will find an emergency toxicology report processed just 4 hours ago. It proves my bloodstream is devoid of any narcotic sedatives or mind-altering substances. I am the sole founder and active CEO of a luxury architectural firm. As you can clearly see, my mind is intact. Agent Miller flipped through the pristine medical documents. The aggressive stance she had brought to my doorstep began to deflate. But the report we received stated you were medicated, suffering from violent delusions, and unable to even remember your own name. I smiled a slow, chilling smile. I reached into the folder and pulled out my iPad. I tapped the screen and opened the audio file I had isolated from the dining room bug. "Let us talk about that caller," I said softly, pressing play. Evelyn's voice rang out, sharp and unmistakable. "Yes, I am calling to report an emergency situation regarding a minor child. My name is Evelyn, and I am calling about my granddaughter, Maya. You need to send a caseworker immediately. My daughter-in-law, Naomi, is violently insane." Agent Miller nodded. "Yes, that is the exact recording of the report. Keep listening." I instructed. The audio continued. The dispatcher on the phone placed Evelyn on a brief hold. During that silence, the hidden microphone picked up Evelyn speaking to Valerie in the dining room. "Make sure you look like you have been crying," Evelyn's recorded voice commanded. "Once they take the baby out of that house, Marcus will have total leverage. If that caseworker asks too many questions, I will offer her supervisor a $10,000 donation to their personal discretionary fund to expedite the removal. We are getting that working-class trash out of our lives today." I paused the audio. The silence in my foyer was deafening. Agent Miller's drained of all color. She realized these wealthy, elite women were trying to use a vital state agency to execute a malicious, illegal kidnapping to secure financial leverage. Agent Miller's shock instantly transformed into blazing professional fury. She snapped the leather folder shut and shoved it back into my hands. She spun around and marched back to the front door, ripping it wide open. Evelyn and Valerie were leaning against the porch railing, waiting eagerly for the show to begin. "Are you taking the baby?" Evelyn asked, stepping forward with a triumphant smirk. Agent Miller stepped into Evelyn's personal space, her voice vibrating with intense rage. "You malicious, arrogant woman," the agent practically growled. "You filed a fraudulent emergency report to manipulate Child Protective Services. You attempted to plan the bribery of a state official. You tried to use my department to steal an infant from a healthy mother. I will be forwarding this entire interaction to the district attorney for immediate prosecution. Do not ever contact my agency again." Evelyn's jaw dropped. She staggered backward as if she had been physically struck. Valerie let out a high-pitched gasp, clutching her ruined silk dress. "Wait," Valerie stammered, her eyes darting frantically between me and the furious state worker. "You do not understand, she is crazy. She threw wine on me." I stepped out onto the porch, standing right beside the angry CPS agent. "Actually," I said, my voice carrying clearly across the manicured front lawn, "the only crazy thing happening here is that you two are currently trespassing on my private property." I pulled my phone from my pocket. I had already pushed the silent panic button connected to my private neighborhood security detail 10 minutes ago. 2 black security SUVs came screeching around the corner, their amber lights flashing brightly in the morning sun. They pulled up in front of my house, blocking Evelyn's car. 4 large security officers stepped out, walking up my driveway. "Remove these 2 women from my property immediately," I ordered, pointing sharply at my in-laws. "If they resist, call the local police precinct and have them formally arrested for trespassing and attempted extortion." Evelyn lost whatever remaining dignity she possessed. Her face twisted into a mask of pure, unhinged rage. "You cannot do this to me," she screamed, pointing a shaking finger at my face. "I am Evelyn Vance. You are nothing but cheap dirt, and you will respect your betters." 2 security guards grabbed Evelyn by the arms. She thrashed and kicked, screaming wildly as they physically dragged her down the front steps. Valerie burst into loud, panicked tears, hiding her face behind her designer purse as she hurried after her mother, terrified that the wealthy neighbors were watching the spectacle. The elite, sophisticated facade they prized above all else was shattered right on my front lawn. Agent Miller turned to me, offering an apologetic nod. "I am so sorry for this intrusion, Mrs. Pheasants. Your daughter is clearly in safe, capable hands." She walked down the steps past the screaming Evelyn and drove away. I stood on my porch, breathing in the crisp morning air, and watched the security team force my mother-in-law and sister-in-law into their vehicle and ensure they drove out of the gated community. I walked back inside, locking the heavy door behind me, and felt a massive surge of adrenaline. The protective orders were useless. The CPS ambush was destroyed. I had neutralized their offensive strategy. My phone buzzed in my hand. I looked down at the screen. It was a text message from Marcus. He was sitting in his fancy office, oblivious to the absolute bloodbath that had just occurred at his house. The text read, "Get dressed up tonight, sweetheart. Wear that red dress I like. My firm is hosting the architectural ribbon-cutting ceremony for your new skyscraper downtown. I am going to make a very special announcement to the investors about your early retirement and how I will be stepping in to manage your stress. I need you by my side." He still thought he had the signed legal power of attorney. He still thought I was drugged and defeated. He wanted to parade his broken wife in front of his wealthy colleagues and formally claim my empire as his own. He wanted a public spectacle. I was more than happy to give him one. I typed my response quickly, my fingers flying across the screen. I smiled as I hit send. I wouldn't miss it for the world. The rest of the afternoon was a masterclass in calculated preparation. I hired a private tactical security detail to guard my home and my daughter, ensuring no one from the Vance family could get within a mile of Maya. Then I focused on my armor for the evening. If Marcus wanted to parade me around as his broken, retiring wife, I was going to give him a visual he would never forget. I chose a custom crimson silk gown that hugged every curve and pooled like liquid fire around my stiletto heels. It was not the dress of a defeated woman. It was the dress of an executioner. The Grand Plaza in front of my newest $40 million skyscraper in downtown Chicago was a sea of glittering crystal and suffocating wealth. This was the pinnacle of the city's architectural calendar. The air smelled of expensive imported orchids and aggressive arrogance. Everyone who was anyone was there: tech founders, real estate moguls, politicians, and the entirety of Marcus's pretentious investment firm were mingling under the massive digital billboards illuminating the night sky. I slipped through the guarded service entrance using a VIP access pass I had engineered. I remained hidden in the velvet-draped wings of the main outdoor stage, watching the sickening performance unfolding on the plaza below. Marcus was in his element. He wore a bespoke midnight blue velvet tuxedo, working the crowd with a crystal flute of champagne in his hand. He was shaking hands, accepting premature congratulations, and flashing his blinding, trademark smile. Across the plaza, Evelyn and Valerie were holding court at a premium VIP table. Despite their humiliating eviction from my property that morning, they had seemingly convinced themselves that the forged legal documents Marcus secured would override any temporary setbacks. Valerie was displaying the massive diamond tennis bracelet, making sure she angled her body so the stones caught the light. They were laughing, sipping premium cocktails, and acting like absolute royalty who had just conquered a new kingdom. I watched Marcus check his heavy gold Rolex. He frowned slightly, clearly wondering where his docile, medicated wife was. He pulled out his phone, probably to text me again, but the event organizer approached and tapped him on the shoulder, pointing toward the stage. It was time. The ambient lights in the massive plaza dimmed to a soft glow, and a single bright white spotlight illuminated the center stage microphone. A respectful hush fell over the hundreds of attendees as Marcus bounded up the stairs, looking every inch the successful, supportive partner. "Good evening, everyone," Marcus began, his voice echoing through the state-of-the-art sound system. "Thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate the skyline-defining triumph of Vanguard Zenith. We are blessed to be standing in the shadow of such structural genius. But tonight, I need to speak to you about something much more personal." He paused, bowing his head and taking a deep, theatrical breath. It was a flawless performance of a burdened, desperate man. Many of you know my beautiful, brilliant wife, Naomi. She is a pioneer, a visionary, and the founder of an architectural empire that has fundamentally changed this city. But what you do not know is the heavy, invisible toll that genius has taken on her. Over the last several months, Naomi has been battling a rapid and severe decline in her mental health. It has been the absolute greatest tragedy of my life to watch the woman I love lose her grip on reality. A collective murmur of deep sympathy rippled through the wealthy crowd. Women pressed manicured hands to their chests in shock. Men nodded with grim understanding. Evelyn dabbed at a dry eye with a linen cocktail napkin, playing her part flawlessly from the front row. The top specialists in the state have informed us that she is no longer capable of managing her own affairs, Marcus continued, his voice cracking with expertly faked emotion. She requires extensive long-term psychiatric care. Because I love her fiercely, I cannot allow the legacy she built to crumble while she fights this terrible illness. Therefore, it breaks my heart to announce Naomi's immediate early retirement. Effective tomorrow morning, I will be stepping in as the interim CEO of her company, wielding full legal and financial power of attorney to protect her assets until she is well again. The crowd actually clapped. They applauded his bravery. They applauded his dedication to his supposedly insane wife. I did not wait for the applause to die down. I signaled the head AV technician standing in the wings, a man I had personally paid $20,000 in untraceable cash just 2 hours prior. He immediately cut the soft instrumental background music. I stepped out from behind the heavy velvet curtains and walked into the blinding spotlight. The collective gasp from the plaza was deafening. The polite applause died instantly, replaced by stunned, absolute silence. Hundreds of eyes locked onto the crimson gown sweeping across the stage. I walked with total, absolute precision. My posture was flawless. My eyes were locked onto my husband. The color drained from Marcus's face so fast he looked physically ill. His jaw went slack, and the microphone in his hand trembled violently. He looked at me as if I were a demon rising from the concrete. I walked right up to him. I reached out and wrapped my fingers around the microphone, pulling it from his paralyzed grip, and turned to face the silent, shocked audience. "Thank you, husband," I said, my voice ringing out crisp, powerful, and lucid. "That was a beautiful speech, so heartfelt, so tragic. There is just one tiny problem with your narrative." I took a slow, deliberate step forward, ensuring every single person in the plaza could see the absolute clarity in my eyes. My memory issues mysteriously vanished the day I stopped taking the heavy sedatives you crushed into my daily vitamins. Total absolute pandemonium erupted in the plaza. People gasped in sheer horror. The sharp sound of shattering crystal echoed through the massive space. Marcus lunged forward, his eyes wide with sheer panic, reaching for the microphone. "Naomi, what are you doing?" he hissed, his voice a frantic whisper. "You are sick, you are hallucinating." I sidestepped his desperate grasp. I raised my left hand and gave a sharp, definitive nod to the AV booth. The sound technician hit the main switch. The 3 massive, high-definition digital billboards, suspended on the facade of my new skyscraper, instantly flickered to life. The screens displayed the stark black and white infrared footage from my daughter's nursery monitor. The digital timestamp proved the recording was just a few days old. The video loomed 50 feet high over the audience. It showed Marcus standing in the nursery, holding a small plastic bag of white powder. Evelyn stood right beside him, holding a cup of espresso. The audio blasted through the plaza speakers. The elevated dosage is working beautifully. Marcus's recorded voice boomed, dripping with malice. She could not even remember the name of her lead structural engineer this morning. 2 more weeks of these specialized vitamins, and her brain will be absolute mush. "Good," Evelyn's voice replied. "Once you secure the medical power of attorney and take control of Vanguard Zenith, we can finally commit her to a long-term psychiatric facility." The video paused, freezing on a massive image of Marcus holding the poison. The plaza descended into utter chaos. Shouts of disgust erupted from the crowd. The wealthy executives who had just applauded his bravery were now staring at Marcus with revulsion. He was exposed as a calculating predator, poisoning his own wife to steal her hard-earned assets. Marcus's senior investment partners were already backing away from the stage, their faces pale. Marcus stumbled backward, gripping the wooden podium. "Turn it off!" he screamed wildly at the AV booth. "Turn that off right now!" "It is fake, she is crazy," nobody believed him. The evidence was irrefutable. I kept my posture rigid. I was not finished. The shadow protocol required total annihilation. I swept my gaze across the front row of VIP tables. Valerie was frozen in her seat, clutching her husband Donovan's arm. The massive diamond tennis bracelet glittered brightly against her wrist. I walked to the edge of the stage, looking down at her. "By the way, Valerie," I said, my voice slicing through the chaotic murmurs. "That is a breathtaking diamond bracelet you are wearing tonight." Valerie's eyes widened in terror. She covered the jewels, her breathing turning rapid. "Naomi, please," she whispered. "But I am afraid you are not going to be wearing it for much longer," I continued, "because the Chicago Police Department Fraud Division is currently waiting in the lobby to confiscate it." Donovan shot out of his chair, his face draining of color. "What are you talking about?" "I bought that for my wife with my own investment commission." I laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. "You have not closed a legitimate investment deal in 8 months. Donovan. Your boutique firm is drowning in toxic debt. That bracelet was purchased for $75,000, using funds illegally wired out of my infant daughter's educational trust account. The bank traced the wire transfer to your personal account yesterday afternoon. You are both wearing stolen property." Valerie let out a horrified shriek, frantically trying to unclasp the jewels, as if they were burning her skin. Donovan looked wildly toward the exit doors, but 2 uniformed police officers had already stepped into the plaza, blocking any path of escape. Evelyn jumped up, pointing a trembling, manic finger at me. "You ungrateful little witch," she shrieked. "We gave you everything. You are destroying this family." I looked down at the woman who had tried to have my baby taken away. "I did not destroy this family, Evelyn," I replied coldly. "I am just fumigating my house." Marcus let out a primal, desperate yell. He abandoned the podium and sprinted toward me. He was trying to grab me. He never made it. 2 private event security guards intercepted him right as his fingers grazed my gown. They tackled him hard against the wooden podium. In the chaos, Marcus scrambled to his feet. Before the guards could regain their footing, he lunged forward again, wrapping his large hand around my upper arm. Donovan rushed up the side stairs of the stage. Together, the 2 men forced me backward, shoving me through the heavy velvet blackout curtains and into the VIP green room. The soundproof doors slammed shut behind us, muting the chaotic screams. Marcus released my arm and backed away, pacing the room, hyperventilating. Donovan stepped into my personal space, his face flushed. "You ruined my wife, Naomi," he screamed. "You humiliated her. The police are out there right now, and you think you have won." I smoothed the wrinkles from my silk gown. "I did not ruin Valerie," I said evenly. "Valerie ruined herself the second she decided to wear stolen diamonds bought with my child's money." Donovan kicked a plastic trash can across the green room. "Your child's money?" he mocked. "You always thought you were better than me. You watched my boutique firm drown in corporate debt. I begged you for a measly seed loan 3 years ago. You refused to help your own family, so yes, I helped Marcus forge those skyscraper deeds. I set up the high-risk commercial lender. I orchestrated the entire transfer of your precious Chicago property, and I am finalizing the leverage tomorrow morning to cover all my debts." He leaned in close, his breath smelling sour. "Tomorrow the bank will seize your skyscraper, and we are going to walk away clean." Marcus had stopped pacing and was nodding along with Donovan's unhinged confession. They believed they held the ultimate trump card. They thought the forged documents meant they controlled my destiny. I threw my head back and I laughed. It was a rich, genuine laugh that bounced off the walls. Marcus and Donovan exchanged a panicked glance. "What is so funny?" Donovan demanded. I looked at the men who had conspired to destroy my life. "I am laughing at your profound stupidity, Donovan," I said. I am laughing because you two spent months planning an elaborate corporate heist blind to the fact that there was nothing left to steal. Marcus pushed off the vanity mirror. What are you talking about? I have the signed power of attorney. I have the skyscraper deeds. I control your assets. You control nothing, Marcus, I replied, my tone dropping to a whisper. 3 years ago, when Donovan first asked for that handout, I saw the greed in his eyes. I saw you defending him. I realized your family viewed my success as a shared lottery ticket. So I protected my investments. I slowly began to pace the room. I established a restrictive, irrevocable blind trust in Delaware. I transferred every single tangible asset I owned into that trust. Donovan swallowed hard. A blind trust, he repeated dumbly. Yes, I said, it means I am the sole beneficiary. But I have no legal control or direct ownership over the assets. The trust is managed by a faceless corporate entity. Which means, Marcus, that my signature, the one you so carefully forged, is legally worthless. I turned to my husband, watching his entire world collapse. You cannot leverage the Chicago skyscraper because Naomi Vance does not own it. The Delaware Trust owns it. You cannot seize voting rights in Vanguard Zenith because the trust holds them. Any document bearing my personal signature is a blank, useless piece of paper. Marcus's knees buckled. He slid down the vanity mirror until he hit the floor, staring at his trembling hands. When your commercial lender runs the final title check tomorrow morning, I continued, they are going to find a corporate trust that will instantly flag your paperwork as a catastrophic forgery. The bank's legal department will notify federal authorities before lunchtime. You attempted to defraud a federally insured commercial lender for $40 million. You are both looking at federal wire fraud and bank fraud charges. Donovan let out a pathetic whining sound, sliding down the wall just like Marcus. They were two broken men realizing they had willingly walked into a federal prison sentence. You thought you could drug me and strip me of my empire, I said, my voice echoing with quiet authority. But I built my kingdom from the concrete up. You never stood a chance. I turned on my stiletto heels and walked out of the green room. I glided through the opulent lobby, ignoring the staring eyes of the gala attendees. My private armored SUV was waiting at the curb. I climbed into the luxurious interior and headed straight back to my estate. The demolition was complete. The morning sun crested the Chicago skyline. By noon, the front page of every major financial publication broadcasted the devastating headline, "Prominent investment banker arrested for wire fraud and extortion." Marcus and Donovan were escorted out of their respective offices in shiny steel handcuffs. The government froze their bank accounts. Valerie's massive stolen diamond bracelet was seized as evidence. Evelyn's entire world collapsed, without Marcus's inflated corporate salary to float her extravagant lifestyle. The bank immediately moved forward with the foreclosure on her North Shore mansion. Valerie faced her own public humiliation when repossession agents towed her luxury SUV directly out of her driveway. For years, I had willingly folded myself into a tiny box just to make a weak, insecure man feel tall. I would never make that exact same devastating mistake ever again. I had protected the immense legacy I had bled to build. I had decisively reclaimed my rightful throne and secured my daughter's future. I raised my coffee cup high into the crisp morning air, offering a silent toast to the towering, zero-emission skyscrapers I had designed. I was Naomi Vance. I was a strong, brilliant, wealthy queen, and my reign had only just begun.